pals, the wait is over. The new season of Sloppy Horror Podcast is finally upon us. Eli Roth versus Rob Zombie. Who will be our winner? To start off this challenge, we will be looking at one of Eli's movies, his 2005 horror thriller, Hostel. It's hard to put in words the impact that Hostel has had, but we're gonna do our best. The realistic gore is raw, frightening, and in your face, and Eli never shies away from the carnage. But it's shot under the guise of a real movie. It isn't sold as found footage or gritty. He makes horror for cinema, and that's why fans even outside of the community are familiar with his work. I'm willing to bet there's a strong possibility that even some of your parents have seen Hostel. Eli's skills as a filmmaker could carry him in any genre, but he chooses to pay it forward to the genre that we all love so much, and for that, I must applaud him. And this is actually the first Roth film we have covered here on Sloppy Horror, and you guys are here with us. So it's time to start this challenge and find a winner. So no matter where you're at on this giant rock that we call home, you're in the right place and you are welcome on this train to nowhere. Without any further introduction, here is our take on Hostel. Boom! Welcome back to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and back again for another season, giving you a reason to add some season. All right, you know what? It's hard to do another season. I'll get it,
We've
Mark.
been away for almost 2 weeks, and you come in with that bullshit?
Well, look, it's another season with a
Okay.
reason for y'all to be believing.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay. I like what you did there.
we went right there.
I like what you did there. Welcome
you're-
back, everybody. Shut
Clapping
up.
cheeks. Clapping cheeks, as always.
Just say my name.
Mr. Ozark Mark.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the infamous, the one and only, the fantastic, one-of-a-kind show there is in your earlobes. It's the Sloppy Horror Podcast. And this is a special season. This is a season that we've never done before. This is the ultimate battle. And we're picking two people to versus each other in the pit of death, as we call. Okay? They're going head-to-head. It's Eli Roth versus Robert Zombie. Okay? Now, if you're not familiar, we'll sum it up for you real quick. This is what happens. We're taking two movies from Mr. Eli Roth. We're taking two movies from Mr. Robert Zombie. We're going to put them together. We're going to rate them in our little fancy-dancy, once-pantsy, sloppy horror machine. And then at the end, we're going to crown a winner of who is the king director of the Splat pack, as you would say. Now, that's a big summary of what's going up in this season. So we are on the first episode. We're going to kick it off with a movie from Mr. Eli Roth. Real Eli Roth is up first, and we're talking about what movie of his, Mr. Christian Ramey?
Thank you for that, Ozark Mark. Thank you for taking that from me. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. That's a lot of work.
I know.
That's why I don't do that often. But, I figured we switch it up a little bit.
That's fine.
And I need to do something to keep my mind off cigarettes because it's day 3 of me quitting cigarettes, and my fucking body is going crazy.
Well, good for you, Ozark Mark. Good for you, Ozark Mark.
Crazy.
I'll keep what I wrote aside. That being said...
What did you write down?
Oh, no, it's not important anymore. It's no longer important, apparently,
You
to Mark.
didn't write anything down.
My feelings have been trampled on. I will recover because we're talking about Hostel, okay? This is a one-of-a-kind movie here, Mark. Granted, there were sequels, but this movie had traction.
How many sequels of this movie are there?
There are 3 Hostels, Ozark Mark.
Okay.
The first 2 were heavily Eli Roth. The third one was not directed by Eli Roth, but obviously his world, his people's.
Does
it's
he
his
get paid
story.
for something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I
For
was gonna
sure.
say.
But this first movie, why this gains traction, Mark, is this is bigger than horror Community. A lot of people know the movie Hostel. I mean, your parents may know of the movie Hostel. This is a popular movie. Eventually, the term torture porn kind of got coined with a few of these guys within the Splat pack. I'm not a huge fan of that saying myself, and I know a few others aren't either. I don't know, it just kind of, I think it undercuts what these movies are, because they're horror movies. They really are one-of-a-kind horror movies, and when you put it into something like that, it almost makes it seem as if it's like a like a Serbian film or a Human Centipede level. And I don't think it's there, because I think this is a great movie that plays on real fears. This isn't ghosts and skeletons. This isn't, oh man, here's a haunted possession. Here's a killer doll. Here's a dream demon guy. This is something that is very fearful, being in an element that's not your own, and it's very American for people to have no idea what the fuck is in Europe, and they have no idea. So this is just
I have no idea what the hell's in Europe.
So,
but I kind of don't want to go to Europe after watching this movie. Let me ask you this real quick. Do you think that adds to the fear? Would you think this movie would be any less scary if the entire movie took place in America?
No, it would not be scary, Mark. And you have to, this is going to kind of segue into a double thing here. You have to think 2005, this is just a few years out from 9/11. So xenophobia definitely at the highest of highs. People aren't very comfortable in places that aren't their own. International travel wasn't high on the list for those few years. I mean, there was a lot of things going on. Clearly, people were fearful. And that's when movies like this started to come out. Because obviously, horror movie, there's a domino effect. Something big. Okay, the nuclear bomb goes off in Japan. Godzilla comes out a few years later. Things aren't a coincidence. You can connect the dots. But this kind of spark of fear, I think, came from that. And it took place in Slovakia. But actually, most of it filmed in Prague. But people in Slovakia were pissed. They were like, hey, man, you made our people look bad. And he's like, well, anybody from Slovakia could see that the Americans are kind of shitty the whole time. They missed many warning signs, and they were trampling very rudely over other people's, they were being a dick. Even to the point where Bloody Disgusting, a very well-credited horror site, made I don't want to say fan theory, but the theory to say that Hostel is, Paxton is the American before 9/11, during 9/11, then after 9/11. He's naive, he's doing whatever, and then he moves into the intense situation. Kind of, artsy-fartsy film stuff, but definitely close. I don't think they were at a complete miss. I just don't think people make movies to put an exclamation point to what's going on during their times. I think you drop a big nuclear bomb on Japan, shit was probably messed up for a few years. They probably saw some mutated things, some not great stuff. So this was a general fear. It's not like they're like, hey man, we're going to go with this. It's not that at all. These people are genuinely afraid of something. So it sparked from the real fear. And there are a lot of people where this is, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a scary movie that could get me. Now, I'm a little more cultured now that I'm older. I'm more familiar with, different places in Europe. But I'm saying this could happen in Texas. This could happen in some rural area in Indiana. This could happen anywhere. But the not knowing your way around, that's gonna throw you off no matter what. But when you're dealing with, I don't know, the language barriers are kind of scary too. You feel like you can't get through to somebody. So that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. So I think that there aren't many movies that kind of represent that as well as Hostel does. The fear of going somewhere. Well, they're not fearful at first, but it changes very quickly. They realize how alone they are out there.
Oh, yeah. And they shouldn't have gone to that. They were fine in Amsterdam.
Yeah, well, I guess we should give them a synopsis.
Oh, yeah, sure. Before we continue this any further, if you haven't seen this movie, give them the synopsis, please, Christian Ramey.
All right. So we have 3 siblings. They each have animals. There's Shadow, there's Chance, and there's Sassy. What happens is they all get lost, all right, and they have to return. Okay, that's not what happens. That's not what happens in this movie. The movie we're talking about, we got Americans, 2 Americans. We got Josh, we got Paxton. They're backpacking through Europe. They pick up another friend in Iceland, an Iceland fella, and his name is Ollie. So this movie starts with these 3 gentlemen. They're having fun, doing what 20-something-year-old kids do. Go out drinking, looking for ladies, looking to get in a couple fights, looking to prove their manhood, But I tell you, as they're walking through Amsterdam, as they're walking through places, they're not being very respectful. They're very much cocky, confident, and they feel like they're at home. And They end up meeting some people, and they're looking for girls. And the fella says, "Oh, you're looking for girls? You got to go east. I'll show you the spot." Yeah, this little weird dude named Alex. And he takes them on a train out there. The whole thing's a setup. Here's what's happening, folks. There is an elite group of hunters, if you will. And what happens is these really rich folks, they auction off these people that they kidnap. And Paxton and Josh are people that they eventually kidnap. They bring these people to a hostel, make it seem like everybody's having a good time. They kind of honeypot them with girls, make it seem like, yeah, everybody wants to fuck, everybody wants to party. Boom. You get a little dose in your drink, you wake up in this place. And in order to be in this place, these people that are about to kill you, it's usually just one person, and they had to bid at an auction for you. And it's a elite group of hunters. And that's how they view themselves. But they're really just sadistic people who want to fucking kill people, and they pay high dollars for it. But it's like an elite club, or that's how they view it. You have to get a tattoo to get in the club. Very top secret. The whole town's in on it. The police, the whole surrounding people. It's all a big ploy to get these people trapped inside this hostel, drugged, and then eventually sold to be tortured, or whatever these people want to do to them. You just do it just to tickle them. All right, yeah, you're free to go. You're able to get out of here. I wanted to do this. This was fun.
I just wanted to tickle you.
I just wanted to see if I could tickle someone till they piss their pants, and I have done so. Thank you. I'm sorry. Here is some pants here.
Cool, man. It's cool, though, man. Americans, we're worth the most.
We are.
So if you were to get kidnapped and put into the situation, you might not have to get attacked for a while because you're like the highest valued. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
You got a lot of beginners there that probably will go the cheap route. I think the Russians were the most cheapest ones on the back of the
locals,
car.
Locals were cheap.
Yeah, the locals are cheap. The Americans, we were the most. But
that's a good point, man.
But that's a very scary thing. That's the thing that makes this movie scary. Yes, it is very gory, but it's a very gory situation. So you got to have gore. You got to put emphasis on the gore, which is cool. Hey, if you don't like the gore, stop watching after about 45 minutes. Because the first 45 minutes is all titties and sex and, a young boy's dream, really. Can you imagine having this movie back when you were like 12 years old or something?
Oh, yeah. And Ozark, let's go. We weren't far off. It was 2005. So, how old was I? I was like 15 or something. I don't know. Sorry, 16, something like that. Could you imagine a movie's dialogue like this? Folks, we will warn you. Okay, now if you're older, you won't care, but if you're a younger audience member, be warned. This is how males talk to each other in the early 2000s and before, since ever. There's a lot of like, oh, that's gay. Oh, that's retarded. What are you doing, fag? Like, you're going to hear that a lot of times in this movie. And
do they really? Because I haven't. That sucks
you
because
I
didn't hear it at all.
It's a lot.
I don't talk like that I'm sure I don't talk like that anymore because I feel like I would notice it.
Sure.
But
we don't. You don't.
I didn't notice it that bad. Is it that bad in the movie?
Like, even amongst people's friends groups, it's not as bad. Like, that's just how guys used to talk to each other, but it's just different now. Like, it may be an occasional. I don't even think people say that's gay anymore. Like, people don't really say that. It's like, oh, that's fucked.
I remember there were infomercials.
Yeah.
On TV of like Wanda Sykes or something, like yelling at two kids because they said something's gay, and she's just in a restaurant just yelling at them. That's the commercial.
Hey, y'all can't say that. But don't discredit the year that it came out. So just if you're a person easily offended by that, maybe that's a trigger warning. But it's not. I don't know if there was any gay men in the movie, so there's no. It wasn't directed. The comments were directed at straight males, but it wasn't a derogatory term.
It's
so,
okay as long as
warning.
If you say it to a straight male, it's fine. So it don't matter. You can say anything to him. It's good.
That's true. It's true.
It's good. That's
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying a good point to what I think made this movie work is the actors were great. The dudes were super vulnerable. Like, they were screaming, they were crying, and you don't really see that often. Most times you get James Bond in the chair, like, you can hit my nutsack with a fucking, leather strap, and I'm still, like, you ever see that James Bond?
Mm-hmm.
Where his balls are hanging, and then they were hitting, like, I mean, it didn't show his beanbag, but they were cracking him, bro, and he's just like, I'm gonna make my way out. He was all confident. These dudes, they were scared for their life, rightfully so.
Yeah, the first guy, Josh, he was puking, he had snot running down, tears, everything. Like, that's probably what would happen in that situation.
I don't know, Mark. I really think, like, you and I would accept our fate. Like, we'd accept our fate, like, we would say, like, obviously we'd wait for opportune moments, but not gonna beg. I'm gonna be like, fuck you. Just be like, I would be talking shit, like, yeah, cool. Killed that of 3. You're real cool. I'm just talking shit, like, yeah, you're real powerful. Ho, 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 ho! Yeah, my knees, you're drilling through, and it would hurt, but I know I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're dead at that point. So it's just like, the only thing you could really do is torment this guy's soul for the rest of his life.
The only thing you could try to do is convince him to unhook you to where you could defend yourself at some point. Just make him basically call him a bitch. It's not going to work, obviously, but that's the best thing you could do is talk shit to him, and hopefully he could get him so mad that he wants, like, to fight you, like, straight up. But
yeah, I would be afraid, but I'm not going to tell him.
No,
no. Like, that's bullshit.
Because that's what they want.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I'm not going to give you what you came here to pay for, you little son of a bitch. You might get me, I might die, but I'm going to be, hey, did you hear the one about the priest and the rabbi walking in the bar? Shut the fuck up! Like, they would be beating the shit out of me.
Ugh.
So, I don't know, but these guys crushed it. I mean, they really did an amazing job at, like, being vulnerable, displaying that, and I just thought it worked all across the board. Even the really hot chicks that, like, kind of tricked them, kind of duped them into, getting sold into the hostel. Because, like, right when you got to the hostel, the front desk people are like, oh, I'm sorry, you have roommates. They're like, what, we got a room with people? That's dumb. And then they get there, it's like 2 hot chicks, like, changing. And they're like, oh, it's okay, you come in here. We're going to the spa. Join us. And it's just like, once again, that's an easily set up situation for some 20-something-year-old boys.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, these girls love us.
100%, because they're stupid. You know what I mean? 2 hot girls changing. Why wouldn't you think so?
I'm at least happy about one thing, Mark.
What's that?
The girls bang them.
That is true. I was thinking about that, too.
They send them off.
At least if they're going to be sadistic to you and you're going to get sold and get your innards ripped out and all kind of whatever the hell they're going to do to you, at least the chicks were courtesy enough to bang you before they sold you.
Yeah, and these are like runway supermodels, like we might add. And I'm not saying that like being a creep. I'm saying these girls are like...
No, they're hot for sure. I mean, they're
everyone
super
at the
hot.
hostel, it's like these are like gorgeous people.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Oh, they're really good at doing it, Mark. They set them up.
Oh, yeah.
They set them up good. You know what else is funny, Mark? Inside this little town, they have this little group of kids, and these kids are hooligans, dude. They're murderers. They're savages, and they will hold you up for bubble gum. They will take your phone. They will stop your car. You're going to give them some gum. You're going to give them something, or they're going to mess you up.
I know. Just for bubble gum. That's hilarious.
I know.
Like,
It shouldn't be funny,
like,
but it
not,
is.
But it is.
Bubblegum.
I wonder though how because basically if you fast forward to the end, he's getting away. He got away from the hostel. Sorry to spoil the movie for you, but he got away from the fucking place where he's dying.
He gets out.
And he's driving through the town, and he's in a high-speed chase to the guards there or whatever, trying to get him back. And, of course, he goes down the alley, and, of course, all the bubblegum kids sit there, and they stand there, and they're, like, not letting him go. But he has a bag full of bubblegum in the car. So then, obviously, he gives them said bubblegum, and then... So there had to be some interaction for him to tell them to fuck these dudes up that are following him. But the language barrier. How did he tell them?
Well, here's what it
was.
They stole that car. If you remember in the beginning, like when they took him to that place, the security guys had this big-ass bag of candy because they know they're going to deal with these fucking kids at some point. So that was like their little stash to keep the kids away from them.
Right.
So he stole the car that had the big-ass bag of candy. It wasn't like a little bag. It was like a fucking massive bag of candy. And He pulled up and the kid stopped him, and he just looked over and saw the massive bag. He's like, you have the whole fucking thing. But by the time the other dudes pulled up, they didn't have shit, and they couldn't offer him anything because these kids got a giant-ass bag of candy. They're just eating it. And they're like, get out of the way. And they're pretty much like, fuck you. What do you... Beat this. And then, like, when they were trying to refute that, they just beat the shit out of them and killed them. Like, just smashed them with rocks. It's like, our dude just took this up with this trash bag full of candy. You're going to have to up the ante, homeboy, or you ain't crossing the road. So, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. In the beginning, let me ask you if you could ever do this. Did you ever double team a girl with another dude? Because Paxton and Ollie do that. They buy a whore from Amsterdam, and they go in the room, and you don't see it, but you see the shadow, and Josh is all like, I don't want to be pussy about it or whatever. But Paxton's sitting there getting dome. Ollie's there hitting it from the back, and then you just see them fist bump like during it. Like, I don't know.
That is one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
But I don't think I could never do that with like another.
I don't want eye
dude.
contact.
I don't think I could. That's just weird.
Yeah, that's not something I'm trying to
weird.
go for.
No,
not the threesome I imagine.
No, it's like this is. I'm focusing on one thing here. This is my shit. This is what I'm doing.
This is for her.
You go.
This. Well, I don't want that. I want 2 for 1 for me.
Right.
Like this is for her.
Yeah.
This is her dream come true. This is Sloppy Horror Podcast live and interactive. That's bullshit. Where's our transaction out of the whole? I don't like it. Because if I gotta look you in your eyes while you're doing somebody, I'm gonna be. Dude, I don't know if we can move past that.
And we've been through some stuff. I don't know.
I'm going to need more than a trash bag of candy. Yeah, that is one of the funniest parts in the movie. And it was like kind of like 70s porno music, and you don't see them fist bump. You see the shadow, like the silhouette of them behind a white wall doing it. Just like
fist bump.
All right. Yeah, that was funny. That was a lot of fun. But the second Hostel is a lot of fun too. It actually kind of continues after this one. So Paxton's in the beginning, we'll say. I just think it's very interesting to have this kind of concept where people are hunting people, they're bidding on people, auctioning people, and like you would, like in the back of your head, like you think, oh, okay, maybe there could be something like that, but this put it into perspective. And it showed the different rooms. I thought one of the coolest scenes in this movie was when Paxton, because he probably could have got away if he didn't go looking for his friends. Because he got locked in that closet when he got roofied, but then he got locked in a closet on accident. And when I first watched it, I thought it was on purpose. I thought they were trapping him in there. But I think he really just got trapped in there, missing the bathroom, and they weren't able to get him.
Yeah.
So he woke up and couldn't find his friends. They had checked out of the hotel or the hostel. If he would have just left, he could have left. And he would have been better off. But he didn't. He was a hero. He was looking for his friends. He eventually gets what he wants. He goes to the place and he sees his buddy all cut up and shit. And then some big guys just come and grab him and start dragging him down the hallway. And as they're dragging him down, it's just great camera work, man. It shows his feet, shows his face, but then it kind of shows his POV. And he's looking in these rooms and he sees these other people who are unfortunately tied up. There's people getting electrocuted and skinned and shot and punched. It's wild. It's a lot to take in if you've never seen this movie before. And I don't think it's distasteful because Eli Roth has this thing where he's, in his gory scenes, he shoots it in it's not a gritty way. In a different way, opposed from a Rob Zombie, he kind of goes more cinematic with his whatever, but he also has a dialogue. There's lots of fucking, there's drugs, there's things like that. He has some smut, but when it comes down to the gore scenes, he really shoots them in a artistic way. It's more of if you really go and watch them, and especially so once you get into Hostel 2, I really think he crafted the beauty of kills.
Yeah.
Because
in these ones, it's like half and half. It's half gore, half implied, kind of.
Sure.
You see like the most part of it, but the actual like connection of some things you don't see. Or he cuts away to their reaction or something, so you get the idea. Well, sometimes that's better, and that's how you can
That toe.
spread this movie to a wider audience.
That toe mark.
Oh, the toe.
And then it went to her clipping her nails. The other
Yeah.
one. You're just like, bro, leave the toes alone. Like, leave
No,
that alone.
No, they need to leave the goddamn Achilles tendons alone. They did it again. Why is this a go-to? It was Josh, and he was getting cut up by that surgeon doctor guy, the guy from the train. Bought him. He's like, oh, you want to go? Okay, you can go. Go ahead. And he opens the door and walks away. And he gets up, and he sliced both of his Achilles tendons. And then he gets up, and they, like, fold. Oh, and he falls. Oh, dude.
That was a good one.
It made me cringe.
That was a good one.
It made me cringe, and it will make me cringe until the end of time every time I see that little... Oh.
Now, I really applaud this movie for that, because this movie does make me anxious while I'm watching it. And there aren't a lot of movies that do that for me in the horror movie realm. I mean, I still love to watch them. They're close to my heart. But, like, if I'm watching Jason Takes Manhattan, I'm not, oh, my God. Oh.
No, because... But
every time I put on Hostel, though, it's...
That's because it's based everything could happen. This is based on all reality. There are no made-up monster characters. There's no made-up immoral people. There's no
people
horror monsters. These are people. These are foreign people. People that you're not familiar with, in a place you're not familiar with, in a place you'll probably never go. Mm-hmm. So it's very believable that high-ranked people do fucked up shit. That's a common belief that the elite there's already been proof that they've been doing fucked up shit.
Yeah, they're always corrupt.
Yeah, they're always corrupt, and we've only gotten a little bit of what they do. I'm sure. It's very believable that there is some place in the world that exists that is like this.
But I think it would work internationally too. Like, I think if you were to make an Italian horror movie, like really popular in Italy, where they went to America and they got lost in Texas, and these people were like, and fucked them up. Like, that would be so terrifying to them.
Yes.
Because I don't know where I am.
Right.
And it was the perfect timing for that. It really was. And the fun part about this is Eli, he had did Cabin Fever before this, but he wanted to make, he didn't know what he wanted to make. He had this idea, but he went to Quentin Tarantino and he was talking to him, and apparently Quentin was like, well, what do you want to do? He rattled off a few ideas, and then he's like, well, and there's this that I'm sitting on, and he read off Hostel, and he's like, you're doing that. That's it. Why are you not doing that right now? He's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, no, go to Europe, film it cheap, do it indie style, make that right now. That will be a banger. And sure enough, he was right, because let me see if this is right here on the front page of my thing here, because the crazy part about this is it wasn't, I don't want to say it was cheap. It was cheap to whatever degree, like in film, not for us. But let's see what our budget here was, $4.8 million. Our turnaround on this is $82 million. Wow. That's a hit.
That's
a hit.
That's a fucking hit, sir. Okay, that's the only way to describe it.
That's some of my favorite part about horror movies. Like when you see that like Blair Witch kind of thing where you're just
like it costs this much and you get the.
It makes you happy because, when Avengers does well, it's going to do well. They've been promoting it for a year. It's everywhere. It's all over your cups whenever you go to a fast food restaurant, whatever. It's going to do well. It's right as rain. But when you see something that is new, when it's new, even if it's an Evil Dead or whatever, a Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, this was made for $300,000. How much did it make? $40 million. You're like, oh my God. What were those parties like after that weekend? What was that like Monday like? What was like, the following Mondays when that took off?
Exactly.
Like, picture how you banged your wife that weekend, bro. You're just like, you probably went on a rager. I would have. But here's the thing, Ozark Mark. a lot of people discredit Eli Roth. Give him, they kind of. Not everyone is a fan of him. Not everybody is a fan of Rob Zombie. There are people who aren't fans of both, but there are fans who are fans of one and not the other. So it's kind of an interesting parallel here. But I think those two unfairly got a bad rap coming out because these guys they made some very impactful movies that people will still talk about today, and they're still huge fans of. So Hostel, it doesn't feel this old. 2005? 2005, bro?
I mean, what is that? Great math.
Mark, you know what that is. It's 17 years.
17 years, yes. I'm sorry, dude. All right. Okay, everybody's brain works certain ways, okay?
You right.
All right? And when numbers come up, doesn't work for me.
A lot of times I had to write stuff down with numbers.
I just have to think and whatever. I'm done thinking. What I do want to think about or know about, I want to know some more things about this movie, Christian Ramey.
Is it time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ho. Welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is the segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, if this is your first time here, where the hell have you been? So we're going to tell you something here, okay? We're going to tell you things that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, you may know things about this movie already. If you know what we know, you're going to find out what we know already together. We're going to know together. We're going to have a we know gasm. But if you don't know what we know, you're about to find out what we know, and you're going to have an even better, wetter, grittier we know gasm. Okay, now if you never had one, now's the time to get one. Now, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna tell you something that I may or may not know about this movie.
Tell me what you know.
Okay, look at this here. I got it written down because it's a little bit complicated. But, okay, so there's a special director's cut of this movie, okay? Which, you guessed it, it has an alternate ending.
They like to do
They
that.
always love to
They
do
love
this.
that.
I swear to God. Everybody, can you just pick one ending and stick with it?
They leave it open for debate.
I gotta flip my hat around because there's something that's in my eyeball.
You're
It's a
kind of
little
looking
strange.
like Tom Sawyer.
Thank you. So, in the alternate ending, the surgeon guy, the guy on the train, the guy who dissects Josh, the guy who touches his leg.
Yeah, the Dutch business.
The Dutch businessman.
Hey.
Paxton kills him at the end in the bathroom.
He drowns him in his poopy toilet.
He does. He does.
And he doesn't even kill him with that. That was the funnier part. It's just like, here's your shit.
Yeah, here's your shit. Now eat it. In alternate ending, Paxton kills his daughter, the Dutch guy's daughter, in front of him.
Whoa, that's messed up.
That is messed up. Honestly, I kind of like that idea better. If this guy killed my friend, my good friend,
Yeah.
I'd find his daughter and then I'd kill his daughter in front of him.
Okay.
And then I'd kill him too,
Okay.
It's 2 for 1. But that's the alternate ending. I think both endings would be satisfying to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's a hard pick between which ending do you like better? Do you like the fact that he just drowns him in his poopy water?
I do. I liked that. Well, I don't know. I think if you end the movie with child death, it sends everybody in a. Well, who's the good guy? Everybody sucks here, Cause
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good point there.
he died kind of a hero, and he kind of. Well, he didn't.
No, he lost his fingers.
Spoiler part 2. But what you gonna do?
What you
I
gonna
think
do,
most
yeah.
people have seen the second one.
I would think so too. What do you know about this movie?
Well, I got a lot of stuff that I know about this movie here. I got a lot of stuff.
So please tell me.
Ozark Mock. Here's the thing. You wonder what people come up with crazy ideas for stuff like this. You wonder, right?
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, apparently, Mr. Eli Roth heard about a real website where people could pay to go and hunt people. But these people who were being killed and shot signed up willingly. I guess they were fatally sick or they had problems. They didn't want to be here anymore. But they would get a significant amount of money that would go to their families. So, like, it was kind of like a, I don't know if a hero thing, like, I'm sick, I'm not gonna make it, so I'm gonna go Rambo in the jungle until they find me. Once they get me, you guys are gonna get $1 million, you know. But apparently, he had heard of a real website, and he wanted to do a documentary about it. But he didn't. Instead, he just wrote this movie. But he sat on it for a while until he talked to Mr. Tarantino there.
Huh.
So isn't that kind of interesting?
That website's really fucking crazy, by the way. I'm sure there's there. How do you find something like that?
Now it's on the black web. The dark internet.
How do you get to the dark internet?
You know, there's a few different, like, it's pretty much you're not downloading Chrome. You know, there's different, there's different servers that you can go through. And then, some people upgrade the computers with different spyware, things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
To help
Yeah,
them.
because I know this dark website, so if, like, people can pay, like, something like this, like a room. They have somebody in a room, and you can pay them to torture them and stuff like that. Yeah, there's websites like that too. Dark web is a very, very scary place. Don't go to it.
Yeah, and that's what makes this kind of real.
Yeah.
You know, I know a little something else.
What?
You know the funny cab driver that takes him?
Yeah.
You know, he's weird, doesn't have his teeth.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they had to use a stunt double for the driving because that guy came to the scene way too drunk to drive. And then, like, the guys in the back seat were kind of like, yeah, let's go for it. And Eli Roth's like, absolutely not. This guy is hammered. Like, no fucking way. we're just gonna, we'll get his drunk face talking, and then we'll use the stunt double. So, and then, like, when you kind of rethink about the scene, you're like, yep, that guy's probably pretty drunk.
He looked pretty drunk to me.
Drunker than a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of fun right
Why
there.
do people show up to movies drunk? What the hell's wrong with you? What makes you think it's a job? It's not.
I
it's
don't
not
think
a
he
party.
understood the assignment.
Probably not the language barrier.
Nope.
It goes in and out again. Wow, those are some great facts about this movie here. Do you know anything else about this movie here?
I think that sums it up. I think
Well,
that's a good.
that's a good way to get our feet back in the water here. That's good facts.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
Mark, Mr. Ozark Mark. You know, how about that crazy jazzed up American bounty hunter? Or like the guy that paid to kill people. Paxton escaped, you remember? And then he ended up getting on that elevator and he went to a floor where the people were staying that were killing. They were the ones doing the killing. They were like the guests paying the money. And Paxton managed to like change into this suit so he didn't look like a person that was there to be killed. And this guy walks in and he's like, hey man, what do you think? He's like, this outfit's kind of weird. He's like this jacked up American dude ready to do some killing. And you're like, oh my God. Like, I know it's not funny what he's talking about, but it is funny because he's like, yeah, man. This dude really wanted to kill somebody.
I know. But he makes a good point. The scariest thing he says, he's like, hey man, he's like, pussy's pussy, okay? He's like, I hit 2 whores before I got here. Like, it's all the same. This is something you never forget. And you know somebody will get somebody who's rich like that or fucking wealthy like that who can pay for whatever they want and do whatever they want. You know they're going to get desensitized to some of the most things that people find pleasure in. And it could be where that's another believable thing. Like there could be people very well to this point where the only rush they get is from this.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fucking terrifying.
That's super scary, dude. Mm-hmm. Now, if I can ask you, what's your favorite part of this movie? What stands out to you? I know you usually go for the comedy points.
I do usually go for the comedy points. I don't think I'm gonna go. Well, it's kind of comical, but the part where the what's her name, Canna.
Oh yeah, when
he goes for
Asian girl.
Yeah, when he's about to escape and he hears her screaming, and he goes back for her. Mm-hmm. And it's that jacked up American dude just burning her fucking face and her eyeball. And, like, of course, you know, Paxton shoots the guy, but then she's just sitting here with a dangling eyeball. And then, like, he cuts it off, and then it's just ooze popping out of it. I'm like, oh my God.
I feel like that ooze was honey mustard.
It was something like that, but like I'm going like, oh, what is that? But they're sitting there, as soon as they let that off, they're all laughing in the background when they were filming it. You know what
just
I mean?
like, oh, it looks nasty, bro.
Yeah, so I saw the fun in that scene there. It's a little bit graphic, of course, but it was just funny.
And she jumped in front of a train after she saw her face, even though she escaped. You know how mad I'd be? Like, because he could have escaped again.
Oh, I know. He
right there and avoided any kind of, like, dude, he killed, like, 7 people on his way out. Yeah. Like, dude's a beast. Like,
he did that with, like, 2 fingers on one hand. Pretty sure that was his dominant hand, too.
Son of a bitch.
Dude, I would be so mad if I went back for some girl that I barely fucking knew, which I obviously wouldn't do. But if I did do that and then we finally get there, I don't care how mutilated your face is, bitch. I just went back and saved you. You're going to get some surgery. You're going to get a glass eye. You're going to get something.
Yeah. You're going to have to make this work.
Look, I'll be the one that bangs you if you're ever feeling lonely anymore, okay? But I went back and I saved your ass and you jump in front of a train? Yeah. You fucking bitch!
Well, she did I think she distracted everyone.
He was getting chased by some people, right? They were getting chased?
Yeah, they escaped, but then, like, people were on the lookout. There were people at that train station from their place, like, looking for them, and she just jumped in front of the train, and it mutilated her, sprayed other people with her blood, and then everybody's screaming, and then, like, everybody ran up to that, and he was able to kind of, like, creep in the shadows and disappear.
Get out of there.
Yeah, what a wild concept. What a wild concept. He could have left many a times. I feel like it was Josh's fault. He was talking shit in that club that one night. I feel like it was his fault. Remember?
What did he say again?
Oh, almost got in a fight with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I'm an American. And I'm just like, oh, don't be quiet. Just be quiet.
No.
I'm going to be out there in a fucking turtleneck and shit. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
That's all we know. Yeah.
I just want to fit in. You got to fit in to get in. And that's what I would do.
I don't know. I wouldn't trust going to any disco from some Russian girl.
Well, I'm not taking drinks and drugs that these people are giving me.
Hell no. No. Can you give me a bottle, please? No. Let me see you take the bottle cap off. Thank you. Give that to me.
Yes.
Drink it first. You know what I mean? What's your favorite part? You got a favorite part?
Probably, it would probably be that drag down the hallway. I think that's just a great shot. It lives with me forever and ever and ever.
See one guy hosing down a room, like, oh my God.
The Dutch guy is very funny in his own way, but you remember when he touched Josh's leg on the train and he's like, get the fuck off me, man. And he's like, I'm sorry, goodbye. Like, he just left really quick. It was like, I've upset him. Like, that scene makes me laugh always, that little interaction. But I thought it kind of went a little in depth to, like, really why he wanted to do it. It wasn't like he was just crazy. He wanted to be a surgeon, but he couldn't. So, like, you're like, okay, I mean, still really messed up to do that, but all right. You have, like, you see what's going on to some degree. But I don't know, man. It's really hard to sum up my favorite part, but he cracked me up. So the Dutch guy and the front desk guy.
Yes, I love that guy. I love that guy too.
Calm down, man.
Calm down, man. She just check out. I don't know. He wasn't here this morning. It's cool, man. We give you another room. Chill out.
Chill out.
You might have roommates. And it's weird. It's funny because he comes up and he realizes like they're doing the exact same thing. Like, oh yeah, we're going to go to spa.
They did it to him again.
Oh no.
It was some deja vu with different people, and he knew it was a setup.
Yeah.
But for real, if I'm being quite honest, like, I don't see myself Batmaning the situation. In Europe, it's pretty easy to hop a train and ride a couple hours and be into civilized, like a U.S., take me to a U.S. embassy, please, the closest one. And you're just like, yeah, there's some shit happening here. That's the realistic situation of what would happen if that happened. Mm-hmm. Like, You're not that far from all these countries. There's like U.S. embassies there, just like, yeah, this is a situation. My dude's over here. We might not make it in time to get you, but this whole circus is getting shut down. It's all getting shut down. Bringing it to light. I'm missing fingers. I'm not going out quiet about this.
I'm missing fingers. I like how he tried to save them.
So bad he tried to.
He tried to save them little hot dogs of his, but nope.
Nope. That big fucking guy got him. That guy was kind of cool.
That guy had the worst job. I don't know what was his job? Just cut up and get rid of them?
Cut up the body parts so they were able to fit in this hole where you could burn bodies. And it's like, don't you think you just make a bigger hole so you wouldn't have to like...
Why don't you just get a crematorium place? Why don't you sell them on the black market and make extra money?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're already doing black market shit.
Yeah,
I love that security guy. He's just got like the smallest little DVD player watching guard.
Yeah.
Just watching, like such a big dude watching such a small thing.
Like with the leather jackets on, too. That's so funny, man. Those dudes were jacked. And they added fear, man, because every time somebody escaped, there'd always be 3 of those leather jacket guys crossing into the hallway.
Yeah,
and
you
you're
don't
like,
want
dude,
that. No.
These dudes will get you.
Yeah, they will.
These dudes are massive. Like, it just adds fear. It adds fear. That whole like, factory, if you will, where they orchestrate it. There's so many different floors, and it's a big, well-orchestrated, tight-knit thing. And it's just very, I applaud Eli Roth, man. That's well in depth. That's like such a place that seems real. That's not a real place, but in my head, I can think of the layout of that place and like what that is. You're like,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Sir.
Christian Ramey, it's time for the one and only world-famous Sloppy Horror Podcast rating.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Okay, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we are here at the world-famous Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. We're going to rate this movie, not us, but he, Christian Ramey, the whole Sloppy Horror endorser guy himself, the captain of the ship here, okay? He's going to rate this as a horror movie, not a movie in general. So keep that in fucking mind, please. Okay? So, we're going to do this in a series of 4 categories. 3 of the categories are worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
That is correct. So, without any further ado to you, let's get into this. Let's go into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Okay, casting. Honestly, it's a very strong category in this movie. Everybody had to nail it to believe it because it's a big working machine. There's a lot of, you got the hot girls who are like duping these dudes in. You've got the fake police officer people. You've got the henchmen. You've got the guys being vulnerable. You've got the creepy killers. This is a 3 out of 3 with acting. There's nobody in this movie where I feel like, okay. Even the kids crushed it. Like the kids, I believed those kids. I believed every part of this. Obviously, I know it's fiction, but there wasn't anyone that felt out of line. I thought everyone did a great job. 3 out of 3. I really think so.
Makes sense to me. So that's 3 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills.
There's no other answer but 3 out of 3 for kills. There's no other answer. This is Hostel. I mean, he drilled into somebody's chest. We're cutting Achilles tendons. You got kids beating dudes' heads in with a rock. You've got throats being slit, people being drowned in shitty toilets.
Somebody get blasted by a car and then ran over.
By a train, blow torches to the face. I know she didn't die right away, but you can kind of include, that's the cause of her death. So like, kind of, in a roundabout way.
And good old-fashioned shoots and gunshots and everything.
Chainsaws, fingers are coming out. Like, I mean, there are just a wide variety of people getting messed up in all different kinds of ways. And it was done tastefully. And just, that's what we ask for. I mean, if you're looking for kills, I don't know. Obviously, there are gorier films from Hostel. But this is when you're stepping into that territory where you're like, oh, okay, this is big boy stuff here. This is big boy stuff. We're gonna see some things I might not see in The Conjuring. This might not be in the new Scream. So 3 out of 3 for sure.
All right, so that's 6 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the third and final 3-point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
Fear. What a great category, because you have to ask yourself, how scary is this? And many times we're looking at films where, we got a hockey-masked killer, we've got paranormal shit, and we still find fear in it. We don't rate many things 0. You're like, yeah, that's pretty scary. If I was in that, I'd be freaked out. This is 100% could happen. This creates anxiety. This is a 3 out of 3 on fear. I don't know how you could go any different. This could actually fucking happen to you. The black market, I mean, it's only gotten worse with time. Like the internet and technology, there could be a Tinder app for this where people are bidding on your head. This is realistic, man. And then we always say, if I'm not fearing my own mortality, because there's a lot of movies that are scary, but they don't really have any deaths. And you're like, well, if I'm going to live, how scared am I?
Mm-hmm.
You're not living if you're getting out of it. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky, but if you're familiar with Hostel 2, you're only going to get away for so long. These people are going to get you. This is high elite, scary people. So going 3 out of 3 on fear, Mark.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, dude.
This is scary. That is 9 out of 10 so far on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the final 1-point category for half a point each on rewatchability. Christian Ramey, I give it to you. Is this movie rewatchable?
100%, man. I think it's honestly gotten stronger throughout the years. Obviously, like we were saying, the dialogue's a little different. People aren't saying retarded and fag and gay all the time, but they do in this movie. But aside from that, I think it only gets scarier because obviously there's a little bit of climate going on over in Eastern Europe right now. I mean, people are just that's a thing where people will totally be freaked out by this, and I think it gets scarier as the years go by, honestly. The more you know about geography and understand the earth and kind of put yourself because you're thinking from the get-go, why don't these dudes got a gun? You're I would never be out without something that vulnerable. Your brain's thinking that. But so it gets scarier as you go on. So I can't tell you how many times I've watched this. So I turn the spotlight to Ozark Mark. For would he rewatch Hostel? Is it a movie that he could rewatch?
It is a movie I could rewatch. It is. It's classic, man. It's now officially a classic movie. It starts it all. It's very rewatchable the way it do it, especially if you show it to somebody who's never seen it before.
Absolutely.
So that's another one
that's
thing.
A pleasure.
That's a one thing you can put it out your pocket there and show them to them. So that's just that is once again a 10 out of 10. Ding, ding, ding. That is a perfect score for Hostel 2005. The Sloppy Horror Podcast stamp of approval. It's got 10 out of 10. We don't get many of those.
We don't.
We do not get many of those, but this is...
It just delivers.
As far as a horror movie and the elements of a horror movie, it hits them on all of the categories. So, congratulations to Mr. Eli Roth and the movie Hostel. You have gotten a 10 out of 10 here on the world-famous Sloppy Horror Podcast.
I can't really go further in saying, you don't... What more would you want from a horror movie? You've got a wide variety of death. You have realistic fears, and you have actors that know their job and know what they're doing. And is it something that you can go back and watch again? It checks all of these heavily. I couldn't ask for more. If I say, hey man, you need to deliver a horror movie, all right, show me what you can make. And maybe you'll make some PG-13, kind of spooky ghost stuff. And it's man, this is good. This is good, man. Some pop scares. This is good. You're well on your way. This is elite level, man. And this, honestly, that's why Eli Roth is Eli Roth. That's why people, Hostel comes out of their mouth most times after saying his name. You get a couple Cabin Fevers, Green Infernos, you mentioning his other movies, but Hostel. This put him up there. And I just don't think you can ask for more from a scary movie. I don't think you can. And for, I'm not saying for a man. I'm just saying for a human being that doesn't get frightened easy. I still love Freddy and Jason and I love all these things, but I'm not afraid of it. I don't think it's scary. I find really cool premises and stories, but it's fiction. That's why I like it. It's a bedtime story. It's something I've never heard. this is some real life freaky shit, dude. This is some, hey, this actually gets me a little anxious. I'm like, fuck, dude. Get out of there, man. Get out of there, bro. Go.
Get the fuck out of there.
Whoa. And not many movies get me at that level. I still enjoy them. I still like watching them, but there aren't many that, like, actually, you're like, oh, man. This is, my hands are sweaty. Why are you so sweaty? Just watching Cops?
I was watching Hostel.
Exactly.
They should have said that in the movie.
They should have.
Well, that's fantastic, Mr. Christian Ramey. We only have a short few minutes here left on this episode here, but welcome back. We are back now in this hot new season. Do you have any hot things that you can mention? Say, close us out here. Bring us to the finish line.
We are rounding third here, and we are heading home. Folks, this has been a great way for me to take a season, or Ozark and I could say. We could take a season, make it fun so everyone can participate. Now, obviously, Eli is, he's facing up against Rob Zombie, so what we are going to do is alternate. Next week's episode will be a Rob Zombie's movie. That's what it will be, all right? Now, you guys have been a fan of our show, or for you fans of the show, you've seen that we've done some Rob Zombie movies before, so it won't be a movie, obviously, we've already covered, so that might help narrow down the choices. But if you really want to know what we're going to watch, you know where you can find that? Well, we got bonus content out on Patreon. If you're saying, hey, what the hell is a Patreon? Honestly, it's a little site. It's kind of like an OnlyFans for podcast, if you will.
Ooh.
We're not naked or anything, but it's a fun way that you can...
Not yet, we're not.
Exactly.
If we get enough patrons and enough requests, I'll do an episode naked.
Oh, for sure. I absolutely would. But the way this works, folks, is you can subscribe and get some bonus content. We do another weekly show. We have another weekly show out, so there's lots of bonus content. Regardless of Mark's apathy in his face, it's actually a lot of fun, and you guys should check that out, and it's a fun way to support the show. So, you guys should do that. Patreon.com/sloppyhorror. And if you guys don't do that, we'll be back next week with our fun episode with Rob Zombie. You could take a guess of what we're doing.
We're going down into the other corner, down to Robert Zombert.
Yes.
See what he's got cooking up for us.
Yes.
Because he's got to come in. We just did a 10 out of 10 horror movie, so it's got to be some sort of a banger to keep in competition. Man, the competition is heating up. Who will win? I don't know.
We're going to find out.
But the getting's getting good if you're getting what I'm getting at.
I'm confident.
Yeah.
So, folks, we appreciate your free time. We appreciate you for everything you do. I'm sure you're watching us somewhere. I don't know where you're watching, but we appreciate all the likes, the comments, the shares, the ratings. All that shit means the world to us. And, man, I'm just excited to have you guys here with us.
Yes.
So,
very exciting
until next
time.
week, I guess we're out of here.
Okay.
We got to go.
Sabah.